Imagine you're setting up a new Windows device for Microsoft Intune. Everything appears normal until Windows suddenly displays the message something went wrong with error code 801-80014, enrollment blocked. Why did the enrollment fail? Is it a licensing issue, an Intune configuration problem, or something in Microsoft Entra ID? In this masterclass, we'll understand exactly what this error means and learn how enterprise administrators troubleshoot it professionally. Error 801-80014 indicates that Windows enrollment has been blocked by policy or configuration. The device attempted to enroll into Microsoft Intune, but one or more requirements were not satisfied. This could include licensing issues, enrollment restrictions, device limits, or user assignment problems. The error itself does not identify the exact cause, which is why a structured investigation is essential. To understand where this error occurs, let's first review the enrollment process. A user signs in with a Microsoft Entra ID account. Windows verifies the identity, checks whether the user is allowed to enroll devices, validates the Intune license, evaluates enrollment restrictions, and finally registers the device with Microsoft Intune. If any of these validation steps fail, Windows stops the process and displays an enrollment error such as 801-80014. Error 801-80014 usually occurs during the policy validation stage. At this point, Microsoft Entra ID and Microsoft Intune evaluate whether the user has the required license, whether the device is permitted to enroll, whether enrollment restrictions allow this platform, and whether the organization has blocked enrollment for security or compliance reasons. If any validation fails, enrollment is stopped before the device is fully managed. Although the same error code appears on the screen, the underlying causes can vary. Some of the most common reasons include missing Microsoft Intune licenses, incorrect MDM User Scope configuration, enrollment restrictions blocking Windows devices, users reaching the maximum device enrollment limit, or existing device records causing conflicts. In the next modules, we'll examine each of these scenarios individually and learn how to identify and resolve them. In this module, we've learned that error 801-80014 is an enrollment validation error rather than a single specific problem. We also reviewed the Windows enrollment workflow and identified the most common areas where enrollment can fail. In Module 2, we'll begin investigating each root cause in detail, starting with licensing, MDM User Scope, and enrollment restrictions. When you see error 801-80014, don't immediately start changing settings. Experienced administrators first collect information, understand the environment, and verify each enrollment requirement. A structured troubleshooting process is much faster than trying random fixes. The first thing to verify is whether the user has a valid Microsoft Intune license. During enrollment, Microsoft Entra ID checks the assigned licenses before allowing device management. If the required license is missing, the enrollment process can fail before the device is registered. One of the most common reasons for error 801-80014 is an incorrect MDM User Scope configuration. Microsoft Entra ID uses this setting to determine which users are allowed to automatically enroll devices into Microsoft Intune. If the user is not included in the configured scope, enrollment is blocked. Enrollment restrictions define which platforms and ownership types are allowed to enroll. If Windows enrollment is blocked or the user's device ownership isn't permitted by policy, Intune rejects the enrollment request even though the credentials are valid. Microsoft Intune allows administrators to control how many devices a user can enroll. If the user has already reached the configured enrollment limit, additional devices are blocked until an existing device is removed or the limit is increased. Sometimes, the device already exists in Microsoft Intune or Microsoft Entra ID with outdated registration information. This can create conflicts during a new enrollment attempt. Review existing device records before assuming the enrollment process itself is broken. Let's combine everything into one troubleshooting workflow. Start by verifying the user's license, then confirm the MDM User Scope, review enrollment restrictions, check the device enrollment limit, inspect existing device records, and finally retry enrollment. This structured process helps you resolve error 801-80014 efficiently. In this module, we've identified the 5 most common causes of error 801-80014. In the next module, we'll move into the Microsoft Intune and Microsoft Entra admin centers to learn exactly where to verify each setting and how enterprise administrators investigate enrollment failures step by step. Before changing any configuration, collect information about the environment. Identify the user account, device name, Windows edition, enrollment method, whether the device is corporate or personal, and the exact error code. These details help narrow down the investigation before opening any management portal. The next step is verifying the user in Microsoft Entra ID. Confirm that the user account is active, licensed, and a member of the correct groups. If MDM User Scope is configured for selected groups, verify that the user belongs to one of those assigned groups. Open the Microsoft Intune Admin Center and review the enrollment configuration. Verify enrollment restrictions, device platform settings, enrollment limits, and automatic enrollment configuration. Ensure Windows enrollment is allowed and that no policy is blocking the device. Now move to the Windows device. Open command prompt with administrative privileges and run dsregcmd status. This command displays the device's Microsoft Entra registration status, Azure AD join information, and enrollment details. Verify whether the device is already joined or registered before attempting another enrollment. Windows Event Viewer records important enrollment events. Navigate to the Device Management Enterprise Diagnostics Provider logs and review warnings or errors generated during the enrollment attempt. These events often provide more context than the error code displayed on the screen. Instead of checking settings randomly, follow a logical decision tree. If the license is missing, assign it. If MDM User Scope is incorrect, update the group assignment. If enrollment restrictions block the device, modify the policy. If the enrollment limit has been reached, remove an old device or increase the limit. Continue this process until every validation succeeds. In this module, we followed the same troubleshooting process used by enterprise administrators. We collected information, verified Microsoft Entra settings, reviewed Intune enrollment policies, analyzed the Windows device, checked diagnostic logs, and built a structured decision tree. In the next module, we'll explore real-world scenarios and best practices to prevent error 801-80014 before it happens. Let's start with a common enterprise scenario. A new employee receives a Windows laptop and signs in using their corporate Microsoft Entra account. During setup, Windows displays error 801-80014. After investigation, the administrator discovers that the user was never assigned a Microsoft Intune license. Once the license is assigned and synchronized, enrollment succeeds. In another organization, automatic enrollment is configured for selected users instead of all users. The employee has a valid license but isn't a member of the assigned Microsoft Entra group. As a result, enrollment is blocked. After adding the user to the correct group and allowing synchronization to complete, the device enrolls successfully. A user replaces an old laptop with a new one. However, the previous devices were never retired from Microsoft Intune. The user has already reached the maximum enrollment limit, so the new device is blocked. Removing obsolete devices immediately resolves the issue. Some organizations allow only corporate-owned Windows devices to enroll. When an employee attempts to enroll a personal device, Intune blocks the request based on the configured enrollment restriction policy. In this case, the policy is working exactly as designed. Preventing enrollment failures is much easier than troubleshooting them. Standardize your enrollment process by assigning licenses automatically, reviewing MDM User Scope regularly, monitoring enrollment limits, cleaning up inactive devices, testing new policies before production deployment, and documenting configuration changes. These practices significantly reduce support incidents and improve the user experience. Let's summarize the most important lessons. Error 801800014 is an enrollment validation error, not a single root cause. Most issues are related to licensing, MDM user scope, enrollment restrictions, device limits, or existing device records. Following a structured troubleshooting process helps resolve problems quickly and consistently across enterprise environments. Thank you for watching this Microsoft Intune Troubleshooting Masterclass. If this video helped you understand error 801800014, please like the video, subscribe to keep learning IT, and share it with your colleagues. If you've encountered a different enrollment issue, let me know in the comments and it could become the next troubleshooting masterclass.